This man I've loved for 3 years knelt in front of everyone with a ring, and I said, yes, but I lied. Now, his family hates me, the internet won't stop, and I'm terrified I've ruined everything. I remember this so vividly. It was so overwhelming. I'm 26, and my boyfriend of 3 years is 28. From the start, I've been clear about one thing. I love him, but I'm not ready for marriage. I've said it more than once, and I thought he understood. A few weeks ago, his dad turned 60, and they threw a huge party. The house was packed. Relatives, friends, even some people I'd only seen in old photos. Everyone was laughing, mingling, and celebrating. My boyfriend seemed a little off, kind of fidgety, but I chalked it up to nerves. He's not big on crowds, and this was a crowd. Then, halfway through the night, it happened. He clinked his glass to get everyone's attention. My stomach flipped, and I thought, oh no, what's he doing? Before I could piece it together, he was down on one knee, holding a ring in front of the entire room. Will you marry me? My heart stopped. Everyone went silent, waiting for my answer. His parents looked overjoyed. His friends were pulling out their phones, recording every second. And me? I was frozen. Completely and utterly frozen. This wasn't a private moment where we could talk things through. This was a public performance with all eyes on me. And I wasn't ready. Not for the proposal, not for the marriage, and definitely not for a decision that big in front of an audience. But what could I do? Saying no felt like it would crush him, right there in front of everyone he loved. I didn't want to humiliate him, so I did the only thing I could think of in the moment. I said yes. The room exploded into cheers. People clapped, hugged us, and snapped pictures. His face lit up like I'd just made his dreams come true. For a moment, I thought, maybe this was the right thing to do. But deep down, I felt a wave of guilt and panic building. Later, when we got into the car, I knew I couldn't let it sit. I told him everything. That I loved him but wasn't ready. That I said yes because I didn't want to embarrass him in front of everyone. I thought he'd understand. I thought being honest in private was better than rejecting him in public. But I was wrong. He was crushed. He said I'd made it worse by saying yes, that now he had to go back and explain to everyone that it wasn't real. It would have been better if you just said no, he said, his voice breaking. And then came the avalanche. His friends posted videos of the proposal online. Comments poured in. Congratulations, questions about wedding plans, tags in every post. His family kept texting him, asking for updates. Every time his phone buzzed, I could see him getting more upset. Now we're stuck in this weird limbo. His family thinks we're engaged. He's mad at me for how I handled it. And I'm mad at him for putting me in that position in the first place. What would you have done? Said no in front of everyone and risked humiliating him? Or said yes, knowing the truth would come out later? Honestly, I don't know which was the bigger mistake. Update 1. The aftermath of the proposal has been a disaster. My boyfriend and I aren't talking much, and his family still believes we're happily engaged. It's been a week since the party, and everything feels like it's spiraling out of control. I've been fielding congratulatory texts from distant relatives, coworkers, and even random acquaintances who somehow saw the video his friends posted. It's not like the video is viral, but it's been shared enough that people I barely know are now asking me about wedding plans. Every time my phone buzzes, I get this sinking feeling. The problem is, I don't know how to fix this. After I told him the truth in the car, he got quiet. He said he needed space to process everything, and since then, we've barely spoken. I've apologized a dozen times, but it doesn't seem to matter. He's hurt, which I understand. But I'm hurt too. He knew I wasn't ready for marriage, so why did he decide to propose in the most public way possible? And not just a random day, but at a massive family event with all eyes on us. His parents have been texting nonstop. His mom keeps sending me pictures of wedding dresses, floral arrangements, and venues she thinks are perfect for us. I haven't responded to any of it, which I know is making things worse, but what can I say? Sorry, This wedding isn't happening because your son ignored a boundary I've been clear about for 3 years. The worst part is how out of character this whole thing feels. My boyfriend isn't normally like this. He's thoughtful, he listens, and he respects my decisions. At least, that's how it's always been. But this proposal felt like it came out of nowhere, like he wasn't listening to me at all. I keep replaying the moment in my head, trying to figure out why he thought this was a good idea. Was it pressure from his family? Did he think I'd magically change my mind if the setting was dramatic enough? Or was he just so sure I'd say yes that he didn't consider any other possibility? I've been trying to stay calm, but the longer this drags on, the harder it gets. His friends have started reaching out to me too, mostly through DMs. One of them sent me the video of the proposal with a caption like, "You two are so cute. Can't wait for the big day." Another one asked if I wanted help picking out bridesmaid dresses. Every time I see a message like that, my stomach churns. I haven't responded to any of them because, honestly, I don't even know what to say. A couple of days ago, I decided to sit down and write him a letter. Talking in person right now feels impossible because every time we try, it turns into an argument. In the letter, I laid everything out. I told him how much I love him, how much I value our relationship, and how devastated I am that things are so tense between us right now. I also explained, again, why I'm not ready for marriage and why the proposal felt like a betrayal of my trust. I tried to keep it as calm and respectful as possible because I don't want to hurt him any more than I already have. I left the letter on his nightstand while he was at work. When he got home, I asked if he'd read it, and he just nodded. He didn't say anything else, just went to the kitchen to make dinner. I wanted to press him, to ask what he was thinking, but I held back. I'm trying to give him space, but it's hard when I feel like we're just drifting further and further apart. To make things even more complicated, his sister called me yesterday. She wanted to check in because she noticed I haven't been as responsive in the family group chat since the party. I tried to play it cool, saying I've been busy with work, but I could tell she didn't believe me. She started asking questions about the proposal, like when we're planning to set a date and whether we're thinking of having a big wedding or something smaller. I felt trapped. I mumbled something vague about still figuring things out, and then made an excuse to get off the phone. The guilt is eating me alive. I hate lying to his family, but I also hate that I was put in this position in the first place. If he had just listened to me and respected my feelings, none of this would be happening. At the same time, I know he's not a bad person. He's just a person who made a bad decision, and now we're both paying the price for it. I've been confiding in my best friend, who's been a lifesaver through all of this. She keeps reminding me that I'm not the villain here, even though it sometimes feels like I am. She pointed out that saying no in front of all those people would have been humiliating for both of us, and that I handled it as best as I could under the circumstances. Still, I can't shake the feeling that I've made everything worse. I don't know what to do next. I want to talk to him, to really talk, but every time I bring up the proposal, he shuts down. I've been considering reaching out to his mom to explain the situation, but the thought of that conversation makes my skin crawl. How do you tell someone, "Hey, your son proposed to me, but I'm not ready to marry him, and now everything is awkward and terrible"? It feels like no matter what I do, someone's going to get hurt. For now, I'm just taking things one day at a time. I've been trying to focus on work and hobbies to distract myself, but it's not really helping. The tension between us is palpable, and I'm starting to wonder if this is something we can even recover from. I love him. I really do. But this whole situation has shaken my trust in him. If he could disregard something I've been so clear about, what else might he ignore in the future? It's a terrible thought, but it's one I can't seem to get out of my head. Update 2. Since my last update, things have only gotten more complicated. My boyfriend finally told his family that the engagement was off, but instead of easing the tension, it seems to have made everything worse. His mom is furious with me. She called me a few days ago, and the conversation was not great. She said she didn't understand why I led him on if I didn't want to marry him and accused me of humiliating her son. I tried to explain that I'd been upfront about my feelings from the beginning, but she wasn't having it. She kept saying things like, 3 years is more than enough time to know if you want to marry someone. The guilt I've been feeling is now multiplied by 10. I know his mom is lashing out because she's protective of him, but it still stung. She even brought up how much effort he put into the proposal, like the decorations, the ring, and inviting all those people. As if I wasn't already painfully aware of how much planning went into this disaster. And then there's the issue of social media. Despite my boyfriend's best efforts, the video of the proposal is still circulating. His friends took down their original posts, but by then it had been reshared so many times that it was out of their control. Every couple of days, someone new tags me in the video or sends me a message saying how lucky I am. It's like I can't escape it. I even considered deactivating my accounts for a while, but I need them for work, so that's not really an option. The tension between us hasn't improved either. We're technically still together, but it doesn't feel like it. We're like two strangers living in the same space, avoiding eye contact and tiptoeing around each other. I've tried to initiate conversations about where we go from here, but he shuts me down every time. I don't think he's ready to talk about the future, and honestly, I'm not sure I am either. A few nights ago, he slept on the couch. I didn't ask him to. I wouldn't do that. But he grabbed a pillow and blanket from the closet without saying a word, and didn't come back to the bedroom. The next morning, he acted like nothing had happened. I didn't press him on it, but the silent distance between us is starting to feel unbearable. Meanwhile, his sister has stepped in as the unofficial spokesperson for the family. She texted me asking for the full story because she said their mom and brother were both too upset to explain it properly. I didn't respond right away because I wasn't sure what to say, but eventually I just told her the truth. I explained that I love him, but I'm not ready for marriage and that I only said yes at the party because I didn't want to embarrass him in front of everyone. She responded with, "Wow, I had no idea it was like that. That's rough." I thought she'd be angry, but she actually seemed to understand where I was coming from. She even admitted that she thought the proposal was a bad idea, but she didn't say anything because she didn't want to ruin the surprise. Talking to her was a relief, but it also made me realize how isolated I've been feeling. At this point, I'm starting to question everything about our relationship. I hate that it's come to this, but the truth is, I don't know if we can bounce back from this. It's not just the proposal. It's everything that's followed. The lack of communication, the blame from his family, the growing distance between us. I feel like I'm stuck in this limbo where no decision feels like the right one. I've been trying to focus on the positives, but they're hard to find right now. The only thing I'm certain of is that I can't keep living like this. Something has to change, but I don't know what. Do I wait for him to come around? Do I make the first move? Or do I just accept that maybe this is the end of the road for us? I love him, but love doesn't feel like enough anymore.